Good afternoon and welcome to Nutmeg Sports here on the HAN Network. I'm Frank Granito and I'm joined by my partner Donald Eng in the studio today. We'll have John Kovac on with us a little bit later, but Don, a couple of blowouts in the FCAC on Friday night, but we got to see a game on Saturday afternoon that was one of the best of the year without a doubt.
It certainly was, and it answered some questions and it raised a couple of others. It turns out Greenwich can in fact play with the elite in the FCAC. I also think a lot of coaches in Westport, Trumbull, New Canaan, Ridgefield are going to be very interested watching some of the film from that game. Big plays all over the field, also mistakes all over the field that really kept this game very competitive right to the end.
It did, and we'll break this game down a little bit more in our B block, but just at first glance, it didn't look as though Darien played their best game, but credit Greenwich because they never allowed them to get comfortable. And it was also just the resiliency and the ability to fight back because start of the fourth quarter, Darien comes in up by 14. They've really grabbed a hold of this game, and Greenwich scores twice. Quickly brought him back into it. It was a lot of fun to be a part of that day.
It really was. And you mentioned Darien didn't really play their A game. I actually don't think Greenwich played its A game. I think Greenwich can play significantly better than it did. So I'm excited to see how these Cardinals do for the rest of the season.
We'll have highlights and the full breakdown of that game, as well as all the other football games from inside the FCAC later on. But let's start with the HAN Network's Athlete of the Week winners and the new nominees. The Week 1 winners for Athlete of the Week presented by Runners Roost were Katie Jasminski of the Ridgefield girls soccer team and Pablo Martinez of the Darien boys soccer team. Martinez had a goal and an assist as Darien shut out the FCAC defending champ Fairfield Ludlow in a 2-0 win in a rematch of the 2015 FCAC finals. And the senior striker for Ridgefield, Katie Jasminski, scored 5 goals in the defending FCAC champs' first 3 games of the season. They started the year 3-0, outscoring their opponents by a combined 11-0. It was a great turnout, first of all, for our first Athlete of the Week. Over 15,000 votes, 28,000 views on the page, and we had 2 very deserving winners.
Absolutely. Amazing support for Pablo in this week's balloting, and well-deserved. We didn't do him any favors. We stacked the deck against him, and he prevailed. A great performance, beating the reigning FCAC champs all over the field, making plays. And also, and Katie, 5 goals in 3 games, almost half of the 11 goals her team has scored so far. Not too bad there. Great performance by both of them. Well-deserved.
We look forward to seeing both those teams soon. The Ridgefield girls soccer off to an undefeated start. We have them on the calendar next week. That'll be Thursday. They take on also undefeated Darien in what should be a very highly anticipated game. So congrats to Katie and Pablo again. Now looking ahead to this week's nominees for the Athlete of the Week presented by Runners Roost. Dom, why don't you tell us about some of the girls?
Okay, we start with Maggie O'Gorman, Greenwich Field Hockey. She had a hat trick and scored the game winner in the Cardinals' 5-4 overtime win over the Norwalk Bears on Friday. The winning goal came with 7 minutes, 22 seconds remaining in overtime after the teams had shifted to the 7-on-7 format. O'Gorman also with an assist for Greenwich, which handed Norwalk its first loss of the season. Moving on, we have Meredith Pellegrino. Brian McMahon Volleyball led the Senators with 25 kills in a 3-2 win over perennial FCAC-powered Darien last week. The senior filled up the stat sheet with 12 service points, 10 digs, 2 blocks. She followed that up with another big effort in a 3-1 win over New Canaan on Friday. In that game, she had 25 kills and 13 digs. The Senators are 4-0 on the season. Nicole Vaccarella, Fairfield Ward Volleyball, is our next nominee. 23 kills, 22 service points, including 3 aces. Also had 4 blocks as Ward rallied to beat Trinity Catholic 3-2. Ward is still unbeaten. And finally, we have Allie Nielsen of Trumbull High, another volleyball player, 51 assists as the Eagles beat previously unbeaten Staples 3-2. She added 3 kills and had 5 digs. Trumbull is 3-2 on the season.
And a very volleyball-heavy nominee set this week after seeing a lot of soccer and field hockey last weekend.
Yeah, and it's funny. The things are actually heating up in the gym now, and volleyball really is one of the more fun sports that I like. I'm one of those people that I'll actually watch 6-on-6 league in the middle of the night on like Fox Sports 3.
And you're right. The league has been so wide open with Darien struggling. Already has 2 losses this season. There was a period in time where Darien probably didn't lose 2 games in a 5-year span. And the defending FCAC champs Fairfield Ludlow struggling a little bit here at the beginning of the season. Yeah,
it's the season is really there for anyone. This championship is up for grabs this year.
Let's take a look at the boys' nominees now, and we start at Trinity Catholic with John Michael Bavona of the Crusaders football team. Bavona christened Gaglio Field with 316 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns to lead the Crusaders to a 52-28 win over Norwalk on Saturday. The senior running back had only 15 carries, averaging over 20 yards per rush, and his touchdowns came on runs from 28, 56, 14, and 3 yards. Next up from the St. Joseph football team, it's Jared Malazzi, who caught 8 passes for 130 yards and also scored 4 touchdowns, as the Cadets scored a second straight win with a 43-6 defeat of Brian McMahon. Malazzi caught touchdown passes from 39 yards, 18, 14 yards, and a 1-yard catch from quarterback Corey Babineau. It was Johnny McElroy, or Johnny Football as he's becoming known, from the Trumbull Eagles here. The senior quarterback accounted for 5 touchdowns, throwing for 4 of them and running for another one in Trumble's 48-19 win over West Hill on Saturday afternoon. And the lone non-football player here is Anthony Oliveros from the Stanford boys soccer team. Oliveros had a hat trick to lead Stanford past McMahon 4-2. The senior forward broke the 2-2 tie with his second goal of the game late in the first half, picked up his third one then with the insurance goal to end the second half. Those are the 8 nominees for the week, Don. It's very football and volleyball heavy, but you've got a couple others mixed in there. Based on Pablo winning last week, don't rule out Oliveros just yet.
No, a very impressive performance there. 3 goals, really. McMahon scored 2 goals in the game. Oliveros scored 3 by himself. Also, John Michael Bavona, how about that? Apparently only the goal line stops him, because that's a 3-yard touchdown run, and lowers your rushing average.
And I think that the fans were okay waiting with them to open up the stadium based on the performance that he gave them this past weekend.
Yeah, nothing to complain about there. And as you mentioned, on the other side, a lot of volleyball, a lot of aggressive play. 51 assists. How about that? In a win over previously unbeaten Staples High for Allie Nielsen. So really, very well-deserving nominees all around.
You can vote for the HAN Network's Athlete of the Week nominees presented by Runner's Roost at HAN.network. Go online and check that out. We'll take a quick break here on Nutmeg Sports, Don, but when we get back, John Kovacs will join us as we break down that Greenwich Darien game from Saturday afternoon right here on the HAN Network.
1, 2, 3, Abby! You know! I want to find out how good I am. Yes, sir! If you relax, you get blown out. Let's get it done! Let's get it done!
What can you take advantage of right now?
Again, come on! I can push myself way beyond what you think.
Pressure technique. Bring it back.
Have a sports injury or a slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care gives you direct access to an orthopedic specialist fast, without an appointment. Biking, golf, tennis, soccer, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Ortho Express can help. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care, open Monday through Saturday, now in 2 locations. The iPark building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk and 36 Old Kings Highway South in Darien. Or go to coastalorthoexpress.com, like them on Facebook.
At Mex on Main, Trumbull's very own Mexican grill, we're all about fresh, fast, and friendly service. Our Main Street restaurant offers the best in traditional and non-traditional Mexican dishes, with only the best ingredients, never frozen. From authentic burritos, fajitas, quesadillas, and salads, we have something on the menu for everyone in the family. And enjoy our open salsa bar, giving you more ways to customize your meal. Stop in for lunch or dinner at 6528 Main Street, Trumbull, or find out more at mexonmain.com.
At Greenwood Physical Therapy of Bethel, individualized care, knowledgeable staff, and state-of-the-art equipment provide the best of orthopedic and sports medicine services. Our experienced therapists at Greenwood provide the highest level of knowledge and care. Greenwood accepts most kinds of insurance, and staff are there to answer your questions. Open Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., the clinic serves the greater Danbury area and is a convenient drive from Reading. Appointments are available within 24 hours. Just call 203-917-4792 or visit greenwoodphysicaltherapy.com for more information.
Hi, this is Leo Carl from Carl Chevrolet in New Canaan. And you've heard me talk about the Chevy Volt for years. The new model gets 53 miles on EV charge daily, plus 420-mile full range. But don't take my word for it. You need to come in and test drive the Volt yourself. Visit us at 261 Elm Street in New Canaan or online at carldirect.com.
Give your day a jumpstart with the latest news, sports, weather, and more on Coffee Break, live on the HAN Network, weekdays at 11 a.m. Connecticut news doesn't get any more local than on Coffee Break.
Welcome back to Nutmeg Sports here on the HAN Network. Frank Granito in the studio, and I am joined now by John Kovacs. John, really excited to have you here. Let's go back to that game from Saturday. Just such a fun one to be a part of. What are your what's your first takeaway from both teams after seeing that game?
Darien can find solace in the fact that they survived it. They're still king of the mountain. They're still undefeated. They turned back a challenge. Greenwich, while a loss stings, can come off it thinking, wow, we came really close to knocking off what many people would argue successfully is the best football team in the state for several years running.
And we talked about it off the air this morning, how there are teams in the conference, and I'm thinking of one up in Westport that are probably looking at this game thinking they can hang now and possibly knock off the Blue Wave.
I think you have teams that'll come out of this on both ends where you'll see teams that are going to feel, okay, we can hang with Darien, and Greenwich has given us at least the start of a blueprint how to do it. And you're going to have teams thinking, this is not the 2015 Greenwich Cardinals. We better start to figure them out.
No, and it definitely looks that Greenwich is for real and is ready to hang with the rest of the FCIAC. Take a look for yourself, though. Here's some of the highlights from Saturday's game. Good afternoon and welcome to Darien High School. We are here on the HAN Network as we get set for homecoming with 2x2 set. Finley Collins in the backfield. Peters looking to his left, now over the middle. Pressure coming, tries to get one off. Able to make the catch. Touchdown Wave. It's Maxwell Grant coming up with a big catch.
And it wasn't for lack of trying by Zaire House. He was all over him.
3rd and 7 now, still the 2x2 set. Langen looking left, pumps once, now trying to go up top. He's got a man open downfield, making the catch, makes a man miss. Touchdown Cardinals. It's Anthony Ferraro on 3rd and 7. They go with the hitch and go up top. Now they're good to go as Stewart puts the right arm up. This one high end over end kick. Retreating back and fielding at the 3 is Iobi. Looking to get ahead of steam. Starts in the middle, now cuts it outside. Back across the hash. Splits the defense down the middle. Nobody gonna catch Iobi. He's at the 25-20, 15, 10, 5. Dives for the goal line. Touchdown Cardinals. Excuse me, somebody almost caught Iobi. It's a quarterback sneak all the way. He's heading for the goal line. What is the signal? As we are still awaiting the call, a huge scrum down there.
This is just a melee at the bottom of this.
Nothing yet. And he didn't get it. Stopped short at the 6-inch yard line. Peters under center. Brings Green in motion. Pitch to him, trying to get to the end zone. Touchdown, Darien. Falls to 2-1. Again, Langen looking for someone to fake it to. Doesn't matter, though, as he makes a couple men mitt. Reaching for the end zone. Touchdown, Cardinals. And they're back in this one, trailing by 8 now. They fake the slant. They want to go up for the double move. Jarecki there, tipped. Trying to make the catch. Did he hold on? Touchdown, Cardinals. What concentration. Jarecki got a piece of it. 6.5 left to play in the 4th. Peters in the gun, looking to his right, comes back to the left, wants to take a shot. He's looking up top. He's got Legret all the way to the end zone. Touchdown Wave!
What a response by Darien. 2 big chunks of yardage, and it's like a new team out there.
So the final score, Darien 42, Greenwich 35. John, one of the things that surprised me most was Darien not really trying to establish the run in this game.
As I said Saturday, I think they wanted to get up a couple of scores and have breathing room before they established the run, before they decided, all right, now we're going to take the air out of the ball, and we're going to just run the ball and kill the clock. They wanted to get that 2-3 touchdown advantage because you know Greenwich can strike very quickly at any time. Darien never got that advantage. So they weren't able to go to run except in small blocks of time. And we saw some right there, short yardage, where they went into this double tight, double wing. No secret to what they're doing. The motion back's backpedaling, so you know he's not going outside. You know he's going to take the pitch and go right up the gut. They still succeeded.
You talked about the quick drive ability. Greenwich goes 3 on the first drive. They come back then, and it's 2 plays of incompletions, and they throw a 44-yard touchdown pass on 3rd down. They had the ball for a total of 30 seconds, and were down, or make it 7-7. Mm-hmm. Darien drive, scores again. Then it's a kickoff return for a touchdown. I mean, the big playability was there, but they looked out of sync in the first half, I thought. There were miscommunications between both the quarterbacks and receivers, and as well or as close as they played Darien, you never got the feel that Greenwich was playing that well.
No, you really didn't. There were a lot of miscommunications, a lot of overthrows. And if you think about that pivotal drive that ends with that remarkable diving catch in the end zone, laid out, catching on his fingertips, that starts with a high point interception where you're climbing up the intended receiver and snagging that. Then you've got the leaping catch coming down, and this, I believe, is the interception. I mean, the athleticism, and then come down and start to return it. It's just incredible. That begins this remarkable about 5-6 minutes of football in which you saw another spectacular catch in which the receiver on the second level, so there's big guys, there's linebackers there ready to hit him, and he skies on the linebacker, comes down, gets into a sitting position, and lands in a seated position cradling the football. That sets up the deflected touchdown in the end zone. I mean, just a remarkable drive. Darien comes right back with that one-handed catch that everybody in the state is talking about by Finley Collins, where he barely breaks stride, sticks out his arm, pulls it in, thank you very much, gets them from 4th and long under their own goalpost to what would eventually be the pivotal touchdown in this game.
And there were a couple of really key plays that stood out. And obviously the Finley Collins catch is one of them, not because of just how incredible a play it was. The athletic ability, the concentration, and just the talent to make that type of play. But if he doesn't catch that football, it's now 3rd and 25 from their own 6-yard line, and I doubt they're taking another shot. They're trying to buy themselves 5-6 yards. You don't have to punt from underneath your goalpost. And then the goal line stand. Greenwich has got 1st and goal on the 3-yard line, looking to take the lead, and they stop them on 4 plays.
I hate to criticize play calling because I'm not there in practice every day to see why certain things are done and not done. But when we saw Greenwich against Trinity Catholic, you had this jumbo package that just pounded the Crusaders. Whenever Greenwich needed short yards, bang, they just went to it and just came right after you and got it. And then Greenwich never really went to that package on Saturday, and I think we both kept waiting to see that package come in.
It was shocking, and I agree. I can sit here and play Monday morning quarterback all day long, but I'm just not a huge fan of staying in a passing formation, especially that tight, because it's the same number of players in less space. It is an advantage almost for the defense, but you have to credit the Wave. As resilient as the Cardinals were, they proved that they are still the best team in the FCIAC until they lose. They came back and won the game how they needed to.
I talked last week after we saw Greenwich about how dominant their line was, and they really were against Trinity. There was a play, there's a touchdown early in Saturday's game where all I did was watch the line. I didn't even see who had the ball. And Darien's line came off. They were low. They were flat back. Their cage level was below. And even a Greenwich line that's really been playing well got pushed back off the ball. And Darien won that in the trenches. That a key touchdown, too.
And you felt that Darien won the line of scrimmage battle. They won the first down battle. They won the turnover battle. Those were our three real keys to success. But the Wave survive and advance, still undefeated. The Cardinals, I promise we have not heard the last of them. We will see them again on the HAN Network October 21st when they play against New Canaan. But John, as well as this great game, there was a lot of other stuff going on at Darien this weekend. You had homecoming for the Blue Wave, and we were joined by the Darien Athletic Foundation during tailgate to talk about everything that they have got going on right now, from the Lights Brigade to unveiling new turf stadiums.
Longest turf field in New England.
Yep, over at that new East Stadium. Let's take a look at that interview with Jenna and Lewis. Network, Frank Granito and Kate Chaplinsky, and we are joined by two members of the Darien Athletic Foundation. Now they are Louis Giswaldi and Jennifer Montanaro. Thank you so much, both of you, for taking time this day. Obviously, homecoming here, big game against Greenwich, but it's a big day for the Darien Athletic Foundation as well. Louis, why don't you tell us a little bit about what we have going on today?
Well, today we're opening of the Stadium East, our field in the back. We have these great programs and these community programs, really. And field space has been extremely limited, so this field is absolutely going to take the stress off of that ability for our teams to practice on a whole field. Field hockey's not sharing with football and so on.
Right. And now, Jennifer, we see you at a lot of the games, too. The Darien Athletic Foundation has many projects it works on, but you also tape a lot of the games. You do a lot of other work. Tell us about some of that work.
Well, some of the things that we have gifted along with the fields that seem so obvious are the multimedia scoreboard and the camera equipment. It's been our hope that the students would kind of take this on as a project, and basically we take the footage for them, and we've had several students turn them into hype videos for the teams. And and the photos that we use, Mark Mabel, of course, another Darien Athletic Foundation member, has really been the backbone to our foundation. He uses those photos and puts them up on our website. Kids get to download them for free. So.
And Darien athletes are just outstanding, and I know this means a lot to them. And we do have to say a big part of this in discussions has been field lights on the football field, and there have been some town approvals, planning and zoning, Board of Ed. I know that project is still underway, though. What can you tell us?
Well, we have had the initial approvals through planning and zoning, and of course the Board of Education has blessed us going out. But right now, I think there's a misconception that lights are on their way, and I wish that were the case. But unfortunately, they cost quite a bit of money. So we are now charged with raising $750,000 to make this a reality for the Darien athletes and our town as well. It's really a community event. As we all know, lights just bring everybody out, families, and we're hoping that, we can raise the money in 7 months, and come September, we'll be having our athletes play under the lights.
And Louis, a lot of fun being joined by the Darien Athletic Foundation, and it was really cool to hear about everything they've got coming up and to be a part of the new unveiling of that turf field.
If you want to know why Greenwich is the top, or why Darien is the top football team in the state of Connecticut, why their athletic programs were as successful as they were last year across the board for the Blue Wave, you'll look at the Darien Athletic Foundation and what they're doing behind the scenes to support those kids. That's how you build a competitive high school.
And it's the trend that we're seeing among so many schools now, redoing even the practice fields to have them all as artificial turf. It's just still so crazy to think that Darien does not have lights with all these other facilities, but they're in the process now. They were approved to get the lights, and they're hoping to reach their target goal that they'll need to be able to put those up.
It'll be quite the celebration if and when they get to turn those on.
Well, John, I want to thank you for coming on with us today here to Nutmeg. We will get to see you on Friday night because John was a part of the fan vote game. He will be with the Ludlow Falcons when Wilton travels to Taft Field for that game on Friday night. Tailgate at 5:15. We'll take one more break here on Nutmeg Sports, but when we get back, Don joins me again, and we take a look at the rest of the games from around the FCX schedule.
Walter Stewart's Market in New Canaan is your time-saving local shopping destination for the best of spring. Find many of your favorite products, from great specials on everyday items to the freshest organic produce, artisanal cheeses, and grass-fed steaks. Drop off your knives to be sharpened, grab a beautiful bouquet of spring flowers, and stop in next door for a wine tasting. Plus, their personable staff is always ready to lend a helping hand. So stop in to Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street today, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
At In Sports Trumbull, the game is always on inside. Recently renovated and home to one of Connecticut's largest indoor turf fields, In Sports is a multi-sport recreation center providing state-of-the-art facilities for league play, camps, and youth programs. Players have access to soccer, lacrosse, football, baseball and softball, field hockey, rugby, basketball, volleyball, and social game facilities. In Sports has also launched an early childhood development program, a daycare and pre-K program all rolled into one. Don't miss out on the fun. Find out more at insportscenters.com or call 203-268-1214. Like and follow us on Facebook.
Washington Prime, now open on Main Street in Georgetown. Come enjoy our relaxed setting, excellent service, award-winning nightly happy hours, and feast on our creative new American cuisine. Connecticut Magazine's winner for Best Steak, Washington Prime of Georgetown.
The leaves are changing, water temps dropping, and the sun is setting a little earlier each day. But there's still a lot of great boating, fishing, and coast time left before we see the first snow. And above all, remember, it's always summer at the Dock Shop. With loads of new fishing tackle and accessories, clothing, jewelry, and home decor, the Dock Shop is just what you need when you start to feel that New England autumn chill. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, dockshop.com.
At the Ridgefield Suzuki School, we believe that every child can. Using the internationally recognized Suzuki method, children learn to play their instrument in an environment of encouragement, parental support, and community. The Suzuki approach seeks to develop the whole child, to help unfold his or her natural potential to learn. Private lessons and group classes are offered on violin, viola, cello, and piano for children ages 4 and up, and young children can enroll in their school's early childhood classes before beginning an instrument. The Ridgefield Suzuki School, nurturing a love of music in all children. Call us at 203-403-2667 or visit ridgefieldsuzuki.com.
I'm John Kovach. I'm a newspaper editor. I'm a high school football coach. I'm a television presenter. And I want you to love fishing as much as I do. Tune in to Yankee Fisherman, Thursdays at 1 on the HAN Network. It's like going to the tackle shop without leaving your office.
If you're watching this broadcast, you're not alone. The HAN Network is available for 200,000 Connecticut cable customers on the Frontier Network, and we've also reached 1.7 million viewers on our free live streaming sports, news, and entertainment broadcasts. To reach our rapidly growing audience, contact Advertising Director Jessica Murrin at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
Welcome back to Nutmeg Sports here on the HAN Network. Frank Granito and Donald Eng rejoining me in the studio. Don, let's take a look at some of the other scores from around the FCIAC now, and we start on Friday night. You had Staples and Wilton both undefeated coming into the game, and I think the Wreckers brought the Warriors back down to earth, 42-6. Harrison Levy had 4 touchdowns and 200 yards rushing. It was a big win for the Wreckers.
A huge win for the Wreckers, and as we mentioned, Staples certainly one of those teams that saw that Greenwich Darien game, and they've got to be thinking to themselves that they have as good a shot as anyone to win the FCIAC this year.
As for Wilton now, they'll bounce back. They get Ludlow this week, who suffered another loss. They now are 0-3 against Ridgefield. Do we think that is Staples that good, Wilton that bad, or do we sort of see an in-between game there?
I'm going to go with Staples is that good. I mean, I think they've shown improvement from week to week, and they really are just kind of playing into the season. As I mentioned, I like their chances. They close the season at Greenwich. They also have they have an opportunity to really play themselves toward the top of the FCIAC and of Class LL.
And they'll have a big game with Darien at the end of the year that could determine seedings in Class LL if they continue to play this well. Ridgefield 49, Ludlow 13. No Drew Fowler in this one. Ridgefield able to get the offense going, and they come out with the big win.
Yeah, we mentioned after the Ridgefield Trumbull game that how would they bounce back? Not after the Ridgefield Trumbull, after Ridgefield lost to New Canaan, how would they bounce back? An impressive performance against Ludlow for the Falcons. 0-3 start, but and they get Wilton coming off the loss against Staples.
No surprises here. New Canaan 49. Central was shut out. It was 7-0. Central had an opportunity to score, and one of their players dropped the football before crossing the goal line. This is a trend we're seeing all across the nation. I don't know that Central can hang with New Canaan, but if it's a 7-7 game and Central scores on that first drive, do we see a different kind of game?
I think we do. I think, with a game like this where you have a big underdog playing, they have to get a little bit of confidence. And, having a tie score, they start thinking maybe we can play with New Canaan. New Canaan starts thinking, hey, maybe these guys are better than we thought. You cannot have a breakdown like that. When you're the underdog, essentially, you have to do everything right. And then even hope New Canaan doesn't really play their A game. That's such a costly mistake like that, and then it snowballed.
The closest game Friday night was Stanford 27, Ward 7. Ward falls to 0-3 on the year. What's going on with Fairfield Ward?
Yeah, we had kind of expected them to be more competitive than this. I think Stanford actually is a pretty good team, but certainly a disappointing start to the season for Ward. They just can't seem to put a full game together.
Now we head to Saturday. Danbury traveled outside the FCIAC. They played Harding. Danbury was up 7-0. They lose 46-7 against the Presidents.
Yeah, what we've been saying is Harding for real. It's hard to get a gauge on them playing in that CSC. I think Harding's for real. If you believe in the nutmeg transitive score theory, Danbury also went up 7-0 on Staples. Staples rolled off 36 straight points to beat Danbury 36-7. Harding with 46 unanswered in the 46-7 win.
Harding in Class L, and they have the ability to run into a New Canaan team. Should they have beaten Notre Dame of West Haven last year, they would have matched up with the Rams. So there's a measuring stick should they end up playing the FCI team.
And we'll also see them a couple more times against FCI competition, playing at Stamford a little bit later on this year, and then obviously their annual Thanksgiving matchup with Central.
Now you had Trumbull 49, West Hill 19. We talked about Johnny McElroy, his big performance. West Hill beat up a little bit after the big win against Central. They hung with Greenwich week 1. Trumbull starting to bounce back now.
Trumbull really is, and McElroy is perhaps been the most impressive quarterback in the FCIAC so far. We remember he had that big first half against Ridgefield. He puts points on the board, strong, accurate arm, also running the ball. So Trumbull really could go on a bit of a roll here.
St. Joe's beat up on McMahon really badly. It was 43-6. Jared Malazzi, the receiver, again, 8 catches, 130 yards, 4 touchdowns. St. Joe's took a beating week 1 against Darien. They've come back now 53 against Ledyard, 43 against St. Joe's, against McMahon. McMahon, though, is really struggling.
McMahon really is struggling. A bit of a surprise. I kind of thought they were heading toward, they would start moving up in the FCIAC rankings. And then St. Joe's, what an impressive performance. Do not count them out of the Class M playoffs. The tendency was to say, well, maybe a rebuilding year in Trumbull this year for St. Joe's. But with 2 big wins now, they can put themselves right in the thick of the Class M playoff race.
And they've gotten their toughest game out of the way so far with Darien. They'll have Staples coming up soon. That's another one to look out for. Then in the Save Our Season game, Trinity Catholic opens up the new field and they put on a show, 52-28 against the previously undefeated Norwalk Bears. Trinity came in 0-2, really neat. It was a must-win game for them. And John Michael Bavona with what to this date has been the performance of the season.
It really is. 300 yards rushing on 15 carries. As I mentioned before, the only thing that stopped him was the goal line. And 52 points against a Norwalk team that really was fired up for this game. We're looking for a little bit of payback from last season. Trinity got it done. They're now 1-2, and it's not out of the question. They run the table the rest of the way. It's a little bit of a long shot, but it's certainly it's there for them. It's possible they can do it.
And should they run the table, they're right in the mix to make those Class S playoffs. They qualified last year as a 1-loss team. 2 lost teams will make it there, but that game was 21-20 in favor of Trinity heading to the half, and they finished on a 31-8 run. So we're starting to see the FCIAC take shape a little bit. We're a quarter way through the season now.
Yeah, it's really no longer early in the season. The teams have gotten a third of the way through, or a little bit less, and you're seeing the teams rise to the top as expected. A couple of teams that are sort of that are kind of down in the rankings. But the great thing is that unlike previous years where we had almost a 2-team race for the FCIAC, really is wide open this year. There's probably 5 teams I think that really have a good shot at winning it this year.
I agree. We're down to only 3 undefeated teams left now with Staples, New Canaan, and Darien. But a whole big group sitting there with 1 losses. One of those teams, the Wilton Warriors, and we will get to see them on Friday night when they travel to Fairfield Ludlow. Again, FCIAC tailgate starts at 5:15, pregame coverage at 6:50. Don, that's going to do it for today's episode. We're back tomorrow. We'll have wrap-up from all the other FCIAC sports that went on over the weekend, and we are hoping to be joined by one of our winners from the Athlete of the Week presented by Running Shoes.
Boy, these Mondays fly by.
Sounds a blast. For Donald Eng, I'm Frank Granito. Thanks for watching Nutmeg Sports. We've got boys soccer tonight from Kennedy Stadium when the Norwalk Bears travel to play the Bridgeport Central Hilltoppers. That one is at 6 o'clock. And don't forget, as always, coffee break at 11 a.m. with Kate Chaplensky right here on the HAN Network.